treacherous, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is, yes.
It's the
Hello,
perfect time
everyone.
to sit and listen and, watch love letters, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That is great. There she is. You made it.
Hey, Sonam.
Yes,
There you
thought
are.
I shared with my
Welcome.
account. Hello, how's everyone doing?
Doing great. It wouldn't be a meetup if there wasn't some kind of technical difficulties,
Ah, yes.
True.
So, but yeah, go ahead and put where you're coming into the meeting from. Welcome everyone. And I'm going to hush. I'm not even meetup leader of this group, but I'm so proud of these two women. I am just incredibly proud. They are reaching their goals. They're doing so much more. I can't say enough about them. But do stay tuned. We will be having some celebrations probably in March. But I'll just park it right there. But I just want to say, I'll turn over I'll hush now because this is their meetup.
Oh, Diane, you can go on talking. It's always super interesting to listen to you. And thank you so much for the compliment.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a few people dropping in. Maybe we wait for a couple more minutes. I think for all the new ones who joined, feel free to put in where you guys are joining from. Would be interesting for us to also see. And Diane, I have just a slide for you coming up, which is the first slide. Maybe you are the perfect person then to also take this up a little bit about Women Who Mule and what we do. Maybe we can start with that while people are, slowly dropping in.
Right? Sure. Be glad to.
There we go.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Women Who Mule meetup from EMEA. And what you're seeing here is the representation of Women Who Mule across the world. So we do have divisions in each of the regions, as you can see there, for EMEA, America, APAC, and LATAM. And we're really excited to join hands across the whole world in bringing you not only technical content, but also sometimes to bring you advice for career movement, for career growth, and what that looks like. So you'll often hear us give a testimony or put a woman in the spotlight who has really accelerated and achieved many things in her career. So, but we do welcome and embrace the guys in the room because, hey, you know what? It's a win-win for all of us because we all support each other in the community anyway. But so I always tease people, even though it says Women Who Mule, that does not mean if you're a guy that you cannot be a member. So please know that. But we're helping everyone to achieve their goals, and from oftentimes, from a woman's point of view. There we go. So welcome.
Perfect. Couldn't have put it better myself, Diane. Okay, so we welcome you all to join if you're not already part of the Women Who Mule in your region. So as Diane said, everybody's welcome. It's not restricted to women. So we look forward to having a bigger participation in the forthcoming years. Okay. Thank you, Diane.
I know many of you are already a member or have signed up for the event, but I added in the chat the link. If you'd like to share it with other women developers or men too, be sure to pass that on.
Perfect. Now I think we can move on to the next slide. Maybe a quick introduction about us, me and Sonam, who are the speakers for the day. So my name is Kirutika Nityanandan. I work as a managing consultant at LPDG. So it is a consulting company based out of Stuttgart, Germany. And my experience is in end-to-end process automation using various technologies, also including MuleSoft. Yeah, then over to you, Sonam.
Thanks, Kiru, for the introduction. And hello, everyone. I'm Sonam, and I'm here with Kiru and Diane, and we are really excited to be presenting to you And first off, to everyone, happy Mulentines. And I would suggest everyone to keep sending those love letters to Mule on LinkedIn. So can we move on to the next slide?
Yes.
Yeah, so today we are exploring a topic that we love working with and how we can take intelligent document processing and combine it with MuleSoft to build best practice architectures. So essentially, we are going to show you how you can automate document workflows, make data usable, and we also want to integrate it seamlessly. So I will be walking you through the concepts and the design thinking that goes behind it, and then I will hand it over to Kiru to show you the architecture and the demo. So you will get to see exactly how this comes to life. So let's get started. So intelligent document processing. So I would like to first talk about what is MuleSoft IDP and why it matters. So to set the context, when we talk about MuleSoft IDP, we're talking about how we deal with documents in real business processes. So most organizations spend a huge amount of time manually handling documents. These documents could be PDFs, your emails, any handwritten forms. And the bottleneck isn't storage, it is extracting usable data from them. So how does IDP helps us? IDP helps us extract and structure data faster, almost in any format with AI-powered accuracy. And it also helps us automate the full document lifecycle, while it allows us to do manual review where it actually makes sense. We can also plug that data directly into our downstream systems, so your documents are not just sitting around. And the big value that we see here is you're reducing the manual effort, you are making your processing faster, and you are accelerating your time to market, because we start with pre-trained models for your common document times. Yeah, next slide, Kiru. So 80 to 90% of enterprise data is unstructured. And this stat that you see here is the reason why IDP exists. Most enterprise data doesn't arrive neatly in a database. It comes as invoices, application forms, contracts, and emails with attachments. And what we traditionally do is we throw people at it, and we will either build a rule based parsing, and anytime there is a change in a document, that rule basically breaks the process. And IDP helps us make this unstructured data usable, and we can scale it, so you don't have to hard code logic for every change in your document. Yeah, next slide. Okay. Yeah, so did we miss a couple of slides there?
No, Sonam, do you want me to?
No, that's okay. I'm not sure. Probably we may be missing some of the slides. I wanted to talk about a document study, and basically before you start automating things, you need to understand what do you want to do with these documents, and what your documents actually have, how consistent they are, and what you're actually trying to retrieve from them, because this is the design thinking that guides your architecture later, right? These are the decisions you want to make by understanding what you actually want from these documents. So know your documents before you start to automate these things. So by knowing your documents, I mean understand the frequency of these documents, as in what is the volume of these documents that you're receiving, and how much accuracy can you achieve from this, what are your target fields, and what are the patterns you see in these documents. So this will really help you understand you know what you need to do in your architecture and what should be your acceptance criteria, so you basically, when you decide all these things, you avoid it getting messy later. Yeah, actually, I'll jump to this slide now. Yeah, so when do we need MuleSoft? Because when we talk about IDP, IDP is powerful, but IDP alone cannot extract data, and automation doesn't really stop at just extraction. So that is where we want the MuleSoft to step in. So MuleSoft IDP is powerful, but again, it's not meant to do everything. So the way I like to think about is that IDP extracts it and MuleSoft decides. So IDP's job is focused and very specific. It handles the document classification, it extracts the fields and tables, and if needed, if you need to have some manual validation, you can do that as well in IDP. But once you have extracted this data and you have this data structured, MuleSoft takes over the job, and MuleSoft handles data validation, it handles business rules, some enrichment or transformation that you want to do, and you want the data to be routed to the correct downstream system, so they are also aligned. So next slide, Kiru.
I think this is what you talked about right
Yes,
now. So,
correct.
yes.
Yeah. So instead of overloading IDP with business logic, we want the responsibilities to be clear and clean. So, like I said, IDP extracts and MuleSoft decides. So IDP is like the intelligence for extraction, and MuleSoft is for orchestration. And this separation of responsibilities is what will make our architecture maintainable and scalable as well. Next slide, Kiru.
Yeah, that would be me. Yes.
Yeah,
So
so I will hand it over to you now.
thank you. Yeah. So to provide or to continue add on to what Sonam already said about the division of responsibilities, IDP is basically this tool that is in MuleSoft automation package, right, where you can extract data with natural language prompts. So you have a document and then you can basically talk with the document. For example, if it's an invoice, you can ask, what is my invoice number in the document? What is the invoice date? What is the invoice items, etc. And then IDP is going to fetch it for you. And then it will also on top give you confidence of how confident it is that the extraction is correct. And because it's all natural language, it is very tempting when we start automating with IDP to kind of do everything that we want in IDP itself. Yeah. So like complex transformations, complex business logic, people tend to write, huge prompts in IDP, which is then only complicating what IDP is doing and kind of using IDP for what it is not best at, right? For example, consider this prompt that we see here, where we are asking IDP to determine the cost center. Yeah, but the cost center is not exactly present in the document. What is present in the document is the supplier name. Yeah, and we are asking IDP to extract the supplier name and then depending on the supplier name to give the cost center. Yeah, so if supplier name is Polychemtex, then return a cost center. If it is Inbrew, then return another cost center, right? While this prompt might work, it is not exactly the correct approach, as Sonam already pointed out. We must clearly have the division of responsibilities where IDP is extracting only what it sees in the document. And the business logic or the mapping or the transformation is then going to the MuleSoft side. Yeah, so that IDP does what it is good at and then MuleSoft does what it is good at. And this division of responsibilities is super important, not to let uncontrolled prompt developments, which make the IDP implementation super complicated. And also, for example, if your business rules change in future, or if your mapping table changes in future, then you would have to touch IDP. But in this approach, you would have MuleSoft as a single place where all your business logic, transformation, data validation, everything is maintained. Now, having said this, let us now have a look at what would be an ideal architecture when we implement a document workflow with the combination of MuleSoft IDP plus MuleSoft. Yeah. So on the left-hand side, we see here an input bucket where we have all the documents that we want to extract the data from. It could be also a folder where there is a mix of documents that is landing up. A practical example could be many companies have this info@companyname.com, right? Where a lot of people are sending a mix of content. Like there would be purchase orders landing up from suppliers, there would be contracts, there would be complaints from customers, etc. Everything goes into this one email inbox, right? So if you consider this use case, then it might be necessary to do a classification first to understand what is the type of document that we are looking at. Yeah. And sometimes it could be that the classification does not need IDP. Like, for example, it could be that with the file name, you are able to distinguish what the file is. Or from the sender, you are able to determine what the file could be, if it is a purchase order, if it's a contract, etc. But in many cases, this might not be possible, and you might need AI then to do the classification for you, which is what is depicted in the architecture over here. So you use MuleSoft IDP, have a prompt giving a description of the type of the documents that you might encounter, and we ask MuleSoft IDP to classify the document for us. Yeah. So after this step, we will know what is the document that we are looking at. And then, depending on the result of the classification, we route the document to specific configurations which contain specific prompts for that particular document, right? So for example, for a purchase order, we might want to extract specific data, or for a contract, we might want to extract a completely different set of data. So all this is maintained in separate IDP configurations, and depending on the classification, we route it to the corresponding configuration. And then depending on the extraction quality and the process case, we can plug in manual validation if needed. Yeah, so if, as I already said, IDP also gives you a confidence score depending on how good is the extraction. So we can route it to a manual validation if the confidence score falls below a particular threshold. A human then can look at it, and then he can compare what is in the document and what is the extraction from IDP, and he can correct it if needed. Yeah, and then he can send it for further processing so that the rest of the steps that is following this will still be performed in an automated manner. Yeah. So that is this part over here. So the IDP part ends here, and all the data is then sent to MuleSoft. And in MuleSoft, we have the business rules, validation, and if needed, we can also do some corrections or transformations over here in MuleSoft as well. And then the data is ready to be sent to the destination system. Yeah. And if needed, we can also refer master data then from the destination system also in order to do corrections and business rules. So this would be ideal architecture when we think about automating document workflows with MuleSoft IDP and MuleSoft. So any questions so far? You can all unmute and ask if you have any questions. I will just take a small pause here.
Yes, hi, Stefan is here. I have one question. What
Yes.
will be the, in this case, role of the Einstein trust layer?
Mm-hmm. So in MuleSoft IDP, when you use, when you configure the prompts and when you try to extract data from the document, it actually uses the AI model that is sitting in your Salesforce instance, right? So for MuleSoft only customers, this is happening in the background. So in the background, there will be a Salesforce instance, and there would be the AI model that is sitting in the Salesforce instance. And your IDP will contact this AI model in order to extract the data. And while doing this, all the prompts and the data would be sent via the Einstein trust layer. So you can be sure that sensitive data is not going to go out of your environment. And on top of that, you also have PII masking as well. So if you do not want, for example, sensitive information like, I don't know, the customer number, credit card number, the date of birth, etc., you can also enable this. And then Einstein will mask all this information before sending the prompt to the AI model.
So basically you're saying you need to have the Salesforce Agentforce Lightning platform in order to have in Einstein.
No, Stefan, no. So for MuleSoft only customers, what is visible to you is just your MuleSoft instance, right? You will get a license for MuleSoft automation. So in the background, there will be a Salesforce instance, but you don't have to worry about it. It is how it works in the background, right? But if, for example, there is a customer who has both Salesforce and who has MuleSoft, he can decide to also use the Einstein from his Salesforce instance. This is not in any way connected to Agentforce. Agentforce is a different license. Yeah.
Okay. Extra feature. I understand. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, perfect. No problem. Any other questions?
So how do we get IDP within Anypoint Studio? Like, do we integrate it that way? Or how do we get started with IDP?
Yeah, so IDP is a separate MuleSoft license, right? So you have MuleSoft integration license, which is Anypoint platform and Anypoint Studio, right? And there is MuleSoft automation license, which is the Anypoint platform plus MuleSoft IDP plus MuleSoft RPA plus Composer. So this is a combination or a bundle license which involves all of these tools, and you need this license in order to access IDP. And once you have IDP, maybe I can also show you a quick demo. This was not part of the demo, but I can really show you really quick how it's going to look like. Let me first log in. Yes. So once you have the license under Automations tab, you will have this menu item here, which is called as Intelligent Document Processing. And here you can go and you can start creating document configurations. Yeah. So the first step would be to decide what is the type of document that you're going to extract data from, whether it's an invoice or a purchase order. If it is neither of these, then we can go for generic. I can just create something. Yeah. And then this window opens up where you can test how good is the extraction of data from a test document. So let me now upload a quick test document, which we will also be using in the demo afterwards. So for example, this one here, right, is a sample invoice, which from which, let's say we want to extract the invoice number, the purchase order items, for example. And then you can see here that you can configure some natural language prompts. So let's say I want to start from scratch, and then let's say I want to extract the invoice number. Could be one example. And because the purchase order items is a table, I would configure it under tables so that it is much more structured, right? So yeah. You can give a prompt if you want over here, but depends. So let's try without a prompt and see how good the extraction is. Let us say I want to extract the item number, the description, and let's say the quantity. That's enough for now. Yeah. And here in settings, You have also the AI models that is now available. And as I said earlier, all of these are sitting in a Salesforce instance in the background. Yeah, so we can choose which one we want. And we can also, for example, this is if it's a scanned document, you can enable image recognition. And we can also enable PII masking if you do not want sensitive data to go out. Right, now let's see how good it works. Yeah, so that's it. You can see that it has extracted all the items that is present in this invoice, also with the confidence score. And if we go to fields, we can also see that the invoice number is also correctly extracted. That's it. And I can save it and I can publish it. And this will be consumable as a connector in the Anypoint Studio.
Okay, perfect. Yes, that answers my question.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question. So you showed
Yes.
us uploading a documentation through PDF, right? So is it like supported by a, say, for example, if my customer is using a large queues and topics, right? The messages are going to be coming in as a queue or a subscribers, right? Basically, in an XML format or whatever format. So how do
Yeah.
I upload those kind of large queue messages and connect it to this IDP?
So yeah, so the format that is supported, Rekha, is only this here. So if inside your queue, inside the message, if you have a document which is belonging to these particular formats, then you can of course upload it via your Anypoint Studio. So IDP is an API. It's available as an API. Maybe you can also show this really quick.
So you're saying we can call it as an API layer 2?
Yes, exactly. So this is the connector that I was talking about. So when I publish a configuration in IDP, it is available as a connector. And here you see it takes a input as a file. So you have to pass the base or binary version of the file to the connector. So this would be the way that you can do it also for the queues.
Okay, and is it supported for both on-prem and on-cloud? Can we use this?
You mean Anypoint on-prem?
Yeah, meaning if my platform is an on-prem or on-cloud, it doesn't matter, right? That doesn't affect it, correct? By using this tool.
If you mean your Anypoint platform is on-prem, this one I'm not sure.
If my
So
platform,
I'm 100%.
for example, if my application is running on an on-cloud or on-prem,
No, this one doesn't matter. You can just call the API. As long as you have the license for MuleSoft automation, you can just call the API, pass on the file, and then you can extract the data.
But this is a separate licensing apart from what we have.
Yes.
From the regular. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, then there is no more questions. I go back to the presentation. Good. Now that we saw a little bit of what IDP can do, our next step would be to see a practical end-to-end example of how IDP could be used in a real business process automation, right, along with Salesforce Agentforce. So what is the process that we are trying to automate? That is this one here. So they are like a lot, let us consider a chemical company, right, which has like a lot of suppliers, and all of these suppliers are creating orders as PDF documents, and they are uploading it to a FTP folder. Yeah. And there is this employee who is working in this chemical company, and his daily job is to check this FTP folder regularly. And if he finds any order in it, what he has to do, he has to manually read the order and then type in the order to Salesforce, because it's a scanned document. There's no other way to get the data in other than typing it in for now. And after the order is created in Salesforce, he also has a checklist, right, where he has to check the order for some, let's say, threshold values. If somebody has ordered too much of some materials, then it needs to be flagged, and you need to take certain actions in order to approve the order. So he has to check all this against a checklist. And then depending on the result, if everything is fine, then the order can be approved. If not, then he has to take some actions depending on what is the issue that he found in the checklist. Yeah, and the blue part that you see here is what we are going to automate with a combination of MuleSoft IDP and Agentforce. Okay, so this would be then the automated process architecture. So there is this employee again, but this time he's just asking an agent, hey, can you just upload all the orders from this external FTP folder? And then there is the agent. What the agent is doing is it's calling Salesforce Flow in the background. And Salesforce Flow is then calling a MuleSoft application who is then uploading all the orders from the FTP folder into Salesforce. And then Salesforce Flow is also then calling another MuleSoft application, which is then passing the document to IDP, extracting all the information from the document, and then it is creating the order in Salesforce. So until now, from the PDF scanned document, there is a digital order that is created in Salesforce. And in order to also make the employee's life even more easier, we also want to eliminate the checklist part of the process that we saw before, right? So what we are doing is in Agentforce, we are going to give the agent the checklist as a PDF document, and the agent has this as a knowledge now. And with the order data that he has just created, he can combine it with the checklist data that he has in the knowledge store, and then he can answer questions for the employee. Does the order contain any red flags when compared to the checklist? Is there too much of any item that has been ordered? And then it also gives, for example, the action that he has to take in order to make sure that the order is approved. So this is the automated use case that we're going to be seeing right now. Let me now switch screens. Okay, so first thing we are going to be seeing, I already showed you the IDP part, and I already showed you the demo document that we are going to be uploading as an order, right? So this is the document that we are going to be using also for this demo. And now the goal is that first we want to create this entire, and you can see that it is scanned. I cannot select any text out of here. And we want to create this entire order as an order in Salesforce. So this would be the first step. Let me go to the agent. Yeah, so you see I have already given the query, hi, can you upload orders for me? And the agent has already answered. It has been successfully uploaded, and this is the order ID. And I can say, give me more details of this order. And then it is going to see with this particular ID, it is going to go to the order, and then it is going to retrieve all the information about the order, and then it is going to give me then the order details, right? Oh, takes a bit of time. I can show you in the meantime also what is happening in the background. So this is the flow that is calling that is being called by the agent in the background, right? And it is an auto launch flow, meaning the trigger is when the agent triggers it. And you can see here that this is a call that is an external action, meaning that this is calling the MuleSoft application, which is then uploading all the orders from the FTP folder to Salesforce. That would be the first step. And the MuleSoft application, I can also really quickly show you. So this is the MuleSoft application that is being called by the Salesforce Flow. It is a very simple application. It is just scanning this FTP folder. It is reading the files in the FTP folder, and then it is going to upload it to Salesforce. That would be the first application. Yeah. And then the Salesforce Flow is going to parse each and every document that was uploaded, and then it is going to call a second MuleSoft application, which is then going to extract all the information that we want out of the document. And that would be the one that I showed earlier. Yeah, this one here. Yeah, where we are calling IDP, we are extracting all the information, and then we are giving it back to the Salesforce Flow. As I said, IDP is available as a connector, so that is what we are using inside the MuleSoft application. And after that, using that information that is extracted and provided to us by IDP, we are going to create then the order in Salesforce. You can see that this is a create order step. And then we are also going to be creating all the purchase order items as well that is being provided in the order. Now, let us see now if our agent has answered. Yeah, you can see that I am getting all the details of the order number, what is the product that has been ordered, and what is the unit price, etc., etc. And we can also, for example, check the order that was created by the agent as well. Then I can take also the ID over here. Yeah, and we can see that this contains all the items that was in the PDF that we saw earlier. So that was in this PDF, the catalyst resin, ionized water, etc. Everything is created with the correct product code, with the correct quantity, and with the correct price. And also all the other billing address, shipping address, everything is maintained. So everything has been correctly extracted. So now from a scanned PDF, we have a digital order in Salesforce. Yeah. And on top, as I showed in the architecture diagram, we are going to also give as a knowledge to the agent a checklist over here. And this checklist is also a simple PDF document which contains some rules that the employee must check. For example, how much is a red flag quantity for certain materials, etc. Yeah, let us ask the agent also questions now from this particular checklist and see what he is trying to answer, right? I can ask, we copy the query. You see, I have not given in my query any order number or anything, but it automatically gets the context with the current page I'm on, and then it will automatically pick the corresponding order as a grounding mechanism for my query over here. And then it will answer the questions in the context of the order that I currently have open. Yeah. You can see that in summary, the order contains one item that exceeds the red flag threshold, necessitating further action. So now the life of the employee is so much easier. He doesn't have to read anything from the PDF and manually type it in Salesforce, and he doesn't have to check every line in the checklist, compare it against the order, but he can just ask the agent to do it. Now, this is a short demo of what is possible with MuleSoft IDP plus Agentforce. Now I pause again, and if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer. No other questions, I think. Then let me quickly quickly switch to this.
Let me comment on this real quickly. I
Yes.
love the way that if you're on an order, you can ask questions from the agent and it will automatically ground it against that order, as opposed to an additional prompt or answer, which order. So that's very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It makes the life of the employee so much easier, because he would probably be on the order page again and he has some questions suddenly, and then he just has to open Agentforce, do something to cancel the order. For example, I can even say, change the status of the order to validation required, for example, because this contains one item that is exceeding the threshold. So I can just say confirm, and it is now changed to validation required automatically. Yeah. I mean, these are simple actions, but it could also be, something really complicated that is running in the background as well. This is just an example of what is possible. Okay. Then if there's no
We need
other...
those emojis over here that put on the screen the celebration things.
Is it there?
No, they're not in the screen, but we can put them in the chat. So what do you all think about that? Put in the chat your thoughts. This process is amazing. And to see the technology of the different tools is really very exciting ultimately as we go through the process of the integration at large. So I love this demo. Great demo.
Thank you, Diane.
Let us know, guys, if you have any other questions.
Excited to learn more about IDP. Great. We're super glad that you feel this way. It's a really great product. I will not go too much into detail into this slide, but I'll just have it on the screen. So if you are willing to explore IDP, then this is also the roadmap. There's a lot more features that is coming up further in the year. So keep an eye out for this as well. I love the tool, just that we need to make sure this is being used on the client with all the licensing part. Yes, of course. Yeah. You definitely need the automation license in order to use IDP. So if you could check if the client has this license, then this would be something also to pitch to them. You're welcome, Stefan. Okay. Then let me stop presenting. Yeah. Guess that's the end of the session. We will hang around for a bit, me and Sonam and Diane, if you have any questions. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Okay.
Great. So proud. So proud. Stop the recording.